Okay, so today let's just talk about briefly what's going on kind of in the market. And I believe there's actually some big news today that's getting missed. And this is huge. I wanted to make this video because I felt like, no one's talking about this. So let's just look at the market real quick first. Today market cap so far, we are coming up on noon, $453 trillion, 1,500 currencies in the market space right now. BTC dominance is at 34.8%. I still believe that dominance is going to go up over time. I believe long-term ICOs start to fall by the wayside. I believe government regulations across multiple developed countries are going to cause ICOs to become more difficult, so there'll be less investing in ICOs, and Bitcoin dominance overall will go up. That's just my prediction overall. And I've got several predictions for you in the market. But today in this video, I'm going to show you what I believe is the number one reason why cryptocurrency will be the currency of the future. So first of all, quick recap: the BTC price is up today. Ethereum is up. Ripple's up. No major moves. Litecoin's up quite a bit. But for the most part, the top currencies are up, just under double digits, with the exception of Litecoin. So the number one reason that I believe that Bitcoin and Ethereum and some of these other coins will end up making great currencies and even better stores of value, which I believe is the best use case for them at this current time, is because of this headline right here. Now, I'm going to show you something. This is a mainstream news headline. What's fascinating is I was watching cable news this morning, and there's all this stuff about, Trump and the president and what's going on. That guy is a master at getting people focused on him. Between that and then, people either love him, defend him, other people hate him, want to see him getting rid of. But either way, they're talking about him. And this is big news. This is potentially major news. And that is right here. Inflation surge. Big major headline. So if you come to this news article, they're talking about inflation going up, sparking potential fears. The futures market went down. We'll see what ultimately ends up happening. You can come and read this story if you want. It's on CNBC. However, whenever there's inflation, the biggest fear to inflation is hyperinflation. And this is what happens when you have central banks doing things like cutting interest rates, raising interest rates, and they're supposed to be attempting to maintain steady growth without having a tremendous amount of inflation. But there's a lot of conflicts and interest in the market is the reality. And when you, for example, if this continues, they're going to have to raise interest rates. No matter what they do, the stock market's going to drop when they raise interest rates. No question. It is going to drop. That's just how it works because money's more expensive to borrow. Wall Street's highly leveraged. So there's going to be a drop in the economy when they raise interest rates. Ultimately, I think raising interest rates and keeping inflation in check is good. Inflation is extremely dangerous. By the way, where does inflation come from? Inflation only exists because governments have the ability to print money. That is the only reason it exists. Now, they print money to manipulate markets. They print money to try to, prevent a drop in the market. They want to raise the market. They're afraid of a collapse, so they'll start printing more money. And if you understand economies, you understand that the people who benefit the most when money is printed, it starts at the top of the food chain, if you will. Big major central governments, the U.S. government, European government, Australian government, whoever. The Japanese, Chinese, the major governments benefit the most. And then it's the large corporations that do business directly with the governments that will benefit next. And eventually, who ends up getting left holding the bag? Because what happens is when you have any supply and demand, when you have more dollars, over time, the dollar loses value. So eventually what happens is you will see wages go up. And that sounds good. But when wages go up, oftentimes in these sort of environments, and this is, by the way, can be confirmation of this, wages go up because of inflation. The value of the dollar overall has less value, or the value of the currency overall has less value. So basically, the poorest and the lower middle class in society gets hit the worst with inflation. It looks good because their paychecks go up. But if inflation is going up, then it doesn't matter that their paychecks are going up because that means that prices are going up as well. Who cares if you get $1 an hour raise if you're having to pay more at the gas pump, more, when you go out, more at Starbucks, more, for your mortgage, whatever. However, cryptocurrencies, traditional cryptocurrencies that are decentralized, like most of them, cannot be inflated. The government cannot artificially create more. There's a limited supply. In fact, it's a bit of a deflationary because people lose Bitcoin all the time. And when you lose Bitcoin, then ultimately that's another argument for why the price will ultimately go up as well. So it prevents any inflation hurts your savings. So if you've been saving your entire life and you got $100,000 in savings, but when you first started savings 30 years ago, that $100,000 would have bought the same thing that, say, $300,000 would buy today. So you started saving at a time when it was really hard to save that money. And maybe you don't need the money today, but you can add to it. Maybe you're at an age where you don't need it, and it's part of your, retirement nest egg, but you don't need to live off of it yet. So you just save it. And then in another 10 years, maybe at your 70s or whatever, and you finally decide, hey, I need to pull some of that money out to, help pad my standard of living or whatever. The problem is the money you're pulling out isn't nearly as valuable as when you were trying to save it 40 years ago. It was far harder to save that money 40 years ago than what it's worth today because it's worth substantially less. That sort of situation never happens with Bitcoin. That's what makes Bitcoin a phenomenal store of value and potentially an excellent currency because it cannot be inflated or manipulated by any country's central governments or any sort of private party. So do your research out there. I commented on Twitter the other day, or yesterday, I believe. I think it was yesterday. You should be buying Bitcoin every single day, every single month, or Ethereum. You should be buying a little bit of crypto every single month, and I believe that's true for everybody. Whatever you can afford, whatever doesn't hurt you, and that's only after you've done your research and you conclude the same thing that what I'm saying right now. Do your own research. This space is incredible, but I don't care if it's $10 a month, $50 a month, or $5,000 a month. Whatever you can afford, I believe that we should be saving at the very least a portion of our savings or a portion of our investments in a cryptocurrency. My opinion is that it's going to be an excellent form of long-term savings. So thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. It's an exciting, exciting world out there, and it's even going to be more exciting in the future. Thank you for watching.